All right, lads, welcome back to another Stogie Lads cigar review. This time we are going with a Cuban. It is a Cohiba, as a matter of fact. And I'm going back to one of these lesser known Cohibas. The last one I reviewed, I believe, was a Cohiba Exquisitos, which really positively surprised me. I had a great time with that cigar. That was the first time smoking that stick for me. This is certainly not the first time for me smoking a Cohiba Siglo I. I've had plenty of these. They're actually one of my absolute favorite Cuban, very short cigars, like even shorter than a Mareva Petit Corona. So like this, along with the Trinidad Reyes and H Up and Half Corona, those are really my top of the notch, really small Cuban cigars. This is a little bit pricey for the size, but in my experience, these have a really nice balanced and creamy flavor. And for a nicer winter day smoke, these do absolutely perfectly. So these are a little over like $13 or something like that, US dollars in Swedish crowns here. They're a bit cheaper, obviously, in countries like Spain and Italy with better tobacco tax. But that's what they are around here. The thing with these Cohibas, though, is that they're usually so well rolled, as you guys saw in my review of the Exquisitos, that even though they're small, they usually last like ridiculously long. So you do get quite a good bang for your buck, even though this is a 40 ring gauge by 4-inch or 102 millimeter stick. Perfect Cuban draw on the tighter side, but you're still getting tons of smoke out there. Immediately, it's a very earthy flavor. Very earthy flavor for a Cuban cigar. And there's a little hint of sweetness on the finish. A bit of black pepper there in between. But so far, it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna get back to you guys. I think I'm probably gonna end up doing this in 2 parts, so it's somewhere around the halfway and then the end, because this is such a small cigar, but we'll see how long it smokes. I've had some of these before where they've lasted like 50 minutes, a little over that even. So we'll see how it goes, but I'll continue enjoying this beautiful cigar and get back to you guys soon. All right, so I am exactly 20 minutes in, moving into the second third here. It's funny, I recently saw a post by Habanos themselves on Instagram where they lined up a bunch of different vitolas, and then they wrote about their lengths and sizes and their approximate smoking time. And they actually had the Siglo I on there, specifically the Perlas Vitola. And they wrote 20-minute smoke time, which is, I think, hilarious, because either you're puffing enormously fast or you're just storing these extremely dryly or something, because I'm not a particularly quick smoker, but these are just so well rolled most of the time. I've actually never gotten a poorly rolled Siglo I, in fact. They've all been perfect. That they're so tightly rolled and like well packed that, you know, it's not a tight draw or anything. You're getting tons of smoke, but it's just burned so slowly. I mean, I definitely have at least half of the cigar left. Usually these do land me around 45 minutes. So I don't know who's getting 20 minutes, but this is not the case for me. Perfect roll, as I said, perfect burn. This is a bit on the younger side. I can tell that on the amount of harsh spice. It's not unpleasant at all. It's just very spicy for a Cuban cigar. This has that sort of tingling spice of like a very ligero filled Nicaraguan cigar perhaps, which is very unusual. Not bad though, because it's not overpowering. I wish it was a little bit lower, and this probably would round out with a few more years. I have a bunch more of these, so you know, I'm planning to age the rest obviously, but I just felt in the mood for one right now to review, so I'm smoking it anyway. Other than that, immediately on the palate, there's a nice still earth, but it's definitely toned down from the first few puffs. That was pretty much all there was. Now that's with a nice nuttiness, and that's the beginning of the flavor that you get. Really nice nuttiness. It's beautifully balanced. Then that sort of peters out, and you get a beautiful floral and fruity finish. There's a lot of sweetness on here. It's not quite as like chocolatey sweet as I get from a lot of the Linea Classica stuff, like the Cohiba Robustos. This has a more floral, fruity, honey-like almost sweetness, which is a little bit lighter. This Siglo series is usually a little bit lighter. The retrohale is very approachable. It's not spicier than on the palate at all. And the retrohale brings forward a lot more of that floral style sweetness, which is really nice. I'm not really getting the cereal type flavor. Sometimes I get like a nice graham cracker, sweet cracker style note. I'm not really getting that from here, perhaps because it's a little young, maybe still. But other than that, it's got really nice notes so far. Not incredibly good. I think it's just still a little too rough, but it's still very enjoyable. So I'll get back to you guys probably at the end of this cigar and give you my final notes then. All right, lads, so I'm exactly 45 minutes in. Coming up towards the end here, I still probably have another 5 minutes for my comfortable ending spot. Some people really like to nub their cigars down. You could probably get another 10 at least. You can squeeze this to an hour cigar if you want to, indoors maybe. It's actually, it always surprises me. I don't know why. I just can't get it through my head, but I always think, you know, this is going to be a 40-minute smoke maybe at most. These always last for much longer, always up towards that 50-minute mark, and at that price, it's not that much actually. You know, when these burn that long, you're getting a much longer smoke than you expect. These look so small. People find these almost to be cigarillos. In the US market, maybe they would market them as that, but these are petite Coronas and these last you a long time. And again, I'm not a fast smoker. This was a light to medium bodied cigar all the way through. This last third though is stepping it up towards medium a little bit more. In terms of the flavor, the body on the palate is actually a little bit thinner than I have had before. Sometimes these have been very heavy bodied smokes with thick creamy smoke, like chewy smoke in your mouth. This is a little bit lighter than that. The pepper has subsided. The earth has stepped up again. The nuttiness is still very present, and the sweetness on the end is more dark fruits now, and the floral aspect has gone down since it's becoming a little more of a heavier smoke here towards the end. I really did enjoy this. I think this would have definitely been better with a few more years of age on it, but I was just too much in the mood for a Cohiba Siglo I right now on this day that I didn't really care how young it was. I just wanted to smoke one of these, and I made the right choice, even though this probably would have, like I said, done a much better performance with more age on it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna rate this an 88. The flavors were nice. They were a little bit subsided in the beginning due to that kind of pepper and harshness. They weren't standing out that much, and there was a little bit more limited complexity in these than I have had before. I've had ones that have been like maybe 92, 93 points on my personal palate scale, where I would have ranked them like that before, where these have been pretty excellent. This one was very enjoyable, but just not a stellar cigar. I still will say that I will definitely recommend these for people wanting to try out Cohibas. I think now, having reviewed this on the YouTube channel and the Cohiba Exquisitos, if you want to try Cohibas before you've actually tried any of their other cigars, and you just want to find out, are these for me? Is the Cohiba flavor profile good for my palate? I really do recommend you picking up one Cohiba Siglo I to try out the flavor profile of the Siglo series, because I think this represents it very well, and get a Cohiba Exquisitos that really presents the Linea Classica flavor profile very well as well. Those will give you a very good representation of the two major families of Cohiba cigars, but they will definitely not break your bank. I mean, those two together will cost you, I think, sometimes even less than one Cohiba Robusto. So I think it's a very good way to go. This will cost you as much as like a cheaper Cuban Robusto, which it's smaller, but it still lasts you a long time. So it is a very high recommendation. And these, as well as the Exquisitos, are very easy to find. People just don't really like to go for smaller Cuban cigars, so those are often on the shelves. You can sometimes get decent box coats on them as well, with a little bit of age on them, which you cannot usually do with Cohibas. So I'd really recommend you trying out a Cohiba Siglo I and a Cohiba Exquisitos. Check out that review if you want as well, and make up your mind on Cohiba if they fit your palate or not. At the very least, you'll get a good, well-rolled Cuban cigar for a decently affordable price. So hope you guys enjoyed this video as always, and catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.